Hello students, welcome to the classes. In this session, we will start with the chapter probability. Right, now let us let us revise a few concepts of the chapter probability. Right, now first let us see what is meant by random experiment. What is meant by random experiment? Okay, so there are basically two types of experiments, random and deterministic. Random experiment means the experiment in which output cannot be predicted. For example, if you toss a coin, what face you will get, tell me exactly. Is it possible? No, you may get head or you may get tail. So output cannot be predicted exactly. Now that experiment is called as random experiment. Now let's say you are adding the number of balls. Okay, now there are 2 green balls and 3 black balls, let's say. Now if you add those balls, what's the answer? Total number of balls you get? 5. Now that's a deterministic experiment. That means output is fixed. We can predict the output exactly. There are total of 5 number of balls. We can predict the output exactly. So the experiment in which output cannot be predicted is called a random experiment. See here, output or outcome. Let's do one thing. We'll write outcome cannot be predicted. Outcome cannot be predicted exactly. Okay, we cannot tell we get head only. Okay, this time when I toss a coin, you may get head, you may get tail. So that's what the random experiment. Okay, and deterministic experiment means what? Where the output can be predicted exactly. For example, 2 green balls, 3 black balls. If you add total, obviously you'll get 5, right? Total number of balls is 5. So in that experiment, output can be predicted exactly. So that is called as deterministic experiment. Now we apply probability obviously to random experiment. Probability means what? Chances of occurrence. In deterministic experiment, you don't have chance at all. Either you will get it 100% or you will not get it 100%, because output is fixed. For example, 2 red balls or 2 green balls, 3 black balls. Do you get 6 balls in total? Not at all possible. Do you get 5 balls in total? Obviously, you'll get 5 balls only in total. 2 plus 3 is 5, right? So output prediction is not required in case of deterministic experiment. It is required in case of random experiment, right? Okay, that's about what random experiment. Now let us see the concept of sample space. What is sample space? Now let's say I toss a coin. If I toss a coin, what are the faces you may get? Either head or tail. Now that head and tail, let me represent in the form of set. H for head, T for tail. Now this set we represent using the symbol S. That is called as sample space. What does it contain? It's a set of all possible outcomes. If you toss a coin, you get a head or tail. So all possible outcomes, set of all possible outcomes, we call it as what? Sample space. Let's take one more example of sample space. Now let's say you throw a die. When you throw a die, what all you may get? You may get the outputs as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You may get any one of these faces, right? Now this is called sample space. Set of all outcomes is called as what? Sample space, right? Now let us see the event. Let us see the concept of event. We represent event generally using the symbol E. What is an event? See, the subset of sample space. For example, in this sample space, let us consider only odd numbers. I mean 1, 3, 5. If I consider only odd numbers 1, 3, 5, okay, this is called as event. Or you may consider one more event as what? 2, 4, 6. You may consider any number of events you want. Okay, based on the number of elements they are present. Okay, we can define, we can determine how many events we can have, right? So basically, what is an event? Event basically is a subset of what? Sample space. Subset means what? All the elements of E. Are they present in the sample space? Yes. Obviously yes. Because we have chosen from it. Right. So event is basically a subset of what? The sample space. Right. Now in case of events, there are two types. One is called simple event. Simple event. What is simple event? See, if my sample space, or sorry, if my event, let's say it contains only one number, let's say, let's consider this sample space. Okay, what I am writing in the event, it contains only one number here, 2, right? So if my event contains only one element, then it is called simple event. Now if it contains 2, for example, that is called as compound event. That is called as compound event. Let's take an example of 2 comma 3. It contains more than one element, I mean 2 or more. That is called as what? The compound event. Right. Now these are the types of events. Okay. Now let us see, there are few more events. Okay. Before going to that, let us see the definition of probability. Okay. And a few formulae. Okay. Now let's see the definition of probability. Probability of any event E we generally represent using P of E. This means probability of event E. This is given by N of E divided by N of S. What is N of E? Number of elements in the event E divided by number of elements in the event S, I mean sample spaces. For example, let's consider throwing a die. What is the sample space? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is your sample space, right? Now, if I consider the event E as getting odd number is my event E. So, what are odd numbers? 1, 3, 5. 1, 3, 5. Now, in this case, N of E, it means number of elements in the event E is what? 1, 2, 3. There are 3 elements, I write 3. N of S is what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There are 6 elements, I write 6. Now what is P of E? Probability of event E is what? 3 by 6. 3 by 6 because N of E by N of S. So 3 ones are, 3 twos are. 1 divided by 2. That's the probability of event E. Right, that's the basic definition of what? Probability. Right, now let's do one thing. Let us take what? An example, the same example, and we'll understand the different types of what? Events. Okay. Now let's do one thing. Let us consider the sample space of, I mean a die is thrown once. Let's consider the sample space 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. Now let us take event E which contains, or let's say it says, okay, getting even prime number. Event E is what? Getting even prime number. Let's say you want to calculate the probability, and also we will see the types of events. Okay, in the same example, event E is getting what? Even prime number. Now see here, what is the even prime number? First of all, what is prime number? Which is not divisible by any other numbers except 1 and itself. Right, now which are prime numbers here? 2, 3, 5 are prime numbers. Okay, 4 and 6 are composite numbers. 1 is neither prime nor composite. Right, in 2, 3, 5, which is even? 2. Remember one thing, 2 is the only even prime number. Right, now it contains, the set E contains what? Only even prime number means only 2. I can write 2. Now here you can see this set contains only one element. So this is a simple event. Right, this is example of what? Simple event, because it contains what? Only one element. Now if you want probability of E, how many elements are there in E? One element. Divided by how many elements in sample space? 6. So what's the probability? 1 by 6. Right. Now let's take one more example. E. Okay. Getting an odd number. Getting an odd number. Let me do one thing. Let's take this event as now F, because we have taken E here just to distinguish. Right. Now what is F now? Getting odd number. How many odd numbers we have here? See, 1, 3, 5 are odd numbers. Right, 1, 3, 5 are odd numbers. I'll write here 1, 3, 5. Now tell me what is P of F? Probability of getting F is what? How many elements in F? 1, 2, 3 elements in F. 3 divided by 6 elements in sample space. 6. 3 ones are, 3 twos are. What do you get? 1 by 2. So probability of F is what? 1 by 2. Now what is F? F is a compound event. F is a compound event. Why? Because it contains more than one outcome. Right? F is a compound event. Now let's do one thing. Let's take one more example. Okay, E of G. I'll write here G is what? Getting let's say prime number. Not even prime number, just getting prime number. Now G contains what all elements? What all elements are prime numbers here? Okay, 2, 3, 5 are prime numbers. 2, 3, 5. Right. Now what is P of G? Probability of event G. How many elements? 3 elements. Divided by total how many elements? 6 elements. 3 by 6 is how much? 3 ones are, 3 twos are. How much you get? 1 by 2. Right. Now here you see what is the probability here? Probability is 1 by 2. Here what is the probability? 1 by 2. Both the probabilities are same. If both the probabilities are same, I can call F and G, or we can call them as equally likely events. Equally likely events means what? Their probabilities are what? The same. Right. Let's take one more example. H, I will take it as getting we have taken, odd number we have taken. We'll take even number. Getting even number. Okay, now H, even numbers are what? 2, 4, 6. Now what is probability of H? How many elements in H? 3 elements. Total 6. 3 ones are, 3 twos are. How much you get? 1 by 2. Right. Again you can see F and G are equally likely. Similarly, G and H are also equally likely. And you can see F and H are also what? Equally likely events. Right. Now one more thing. Okay, one more thing. Here we have 2, 4, 6. Here we have 1, 3, 5. Do we have anything common between F and H? Do you have anything common between F and H? 1, 3, 5, 2, 4, 6. There is no common element. I mean, I can write F intersection H is a null set. That means it doesn't contain any element. There is no common element between F and H. So such events are called as mutually exclusive events. Mutually exclusive events. They are called as what? Mutually exclusive events. Now let's see about F and H. If you take F union H, how do you take union? We have 1, 3, 5. I will write 1, 3, 5. You have 2, 4, 6. I will write 2, 4, 6. You write all the elements which are present in F and H. Now see here, 1, 3, 5, 2, 4, 6. You have 1 here. You have 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, 4, 5, 5, 6, 6. You got the sample space back. Right? By taking the union of F and H, you got the sample space back. If you are getting sample space back when you have taken the union, those events we call them as what? Exhaustive events. Here I can call F comma H are exhaustive events. Right? You can see F and H, they are also mutually exclusive in this case. Okay, and they are also exhaustive events. So we can call F and H as what? Mutually exclusive and exhaustive events. Exhaustive events means what? If you take union, you should get sample space. Mutually exclusive means what? If you take intersection, you should get null set. It means there should be no common element between the two events. Right? So these events are very important. Mutually exclusive and exhaustive events. Right? Now let's see the next concept, that is nothing but conditional probability. Conditional probability. Let's see what does this mean. Okay. Now let's say there are two events A and B. Now we give P of A bar B as P of A intersection B divided by P of B. So we give P of A bar B as what? P of A intersection B divided by P of B. Here P of A bar B is called as conditional probability. What does this mean? This means probability of A given that B has happened. This means what? Already the event B has happened. Now what is the probability of happening of event A? That is called conditional probability. So that is represented by P of A bar B. In this case, whatever the second event you have after the bar, that event has already happened. Whatever the first event you have, that has to happen, we need to find its probability. So here we need to find probability of A given that B has already happened. Now P of A bar B is given by what? P of A intersection B divided by P of B. It is one of the most important formula. Okay, it's one of the most important formula in the probability. Right. Now let's do one thing. Let's see the condition for independent events. Okay, the condition for independent events. Independent events means what? Independent events, it means the probability of A bar B is equal to probability of A only. If probability of A bar B is equal to probability of A, what does it mean? Whether B has happened or not. Whether B has happened or not, A doesn't depend on B. A doesn't depend on B. Whether B has happened or not happened, A will happen. A may happen. It doesn't depend on what the event B. Now in that case we call them as independent events. There is one more condition for this. P of A intersection B should be equals to P of A into P of B. Either this is the case or this is the case. In these two, if these two conditions, if any one of these two conditions is followed, then it means that what? They are independent events. Right. Now let's see the next very important concept in probability, that is nothing but Bayes theorem. Bayes theorem formula is given by P of EI bar A is given by P of EI into P of A bar EI divided by summation of P of summation of P of EI into P of A bar EI. I is from 1 to n. I is from 1 to n. You can write this summation, or you can also write in this, or I mean in this fashion. Summation is nothing but addition, right? You can also write in this form. It means P of E1 into P of A bar E1 plus P of E2 into P of A bar E2. Okay. So on up to P of En into P of A bar En. That is nothing but summation. Right. Now this is the formula for what? Bayes theorem. So we have already seen what's here we are using conditional probability, right? Because we are using bar. This means what? Probability of happening of EI given that A has already happened. It means one event A has happened. I need to find the probability of what? The event EI. So here what is P of A bar EI then? EI event has happened, probability of happening of A. Right? I mean the first event has to happen. Second event has already happened. Second event has already done. We need to find probability of first event. That is P of A bar EI. Any conditional probability. In any conditional probability, after bar whatever the event you have, that is happened. Before bar whatever the event you have, you need to find its probability now. Okay, now this is called Bayes theorem. We'll see the applications and how to solve the problems based on Bayes theorem in the MCQs part. Right, now this is about Bayes theorem. Now let's see about what the binomial distribution, okay, and the random variable. Anyway, we'll see the binomial distribution. Binomial distribution. Its formula is given by P of x equals to x is nothing but NCx P raised to x Q raised to n minus x. This is the formula for binomial distribution. It's given by, it's based on binomial coefficients. That's why we are calling it as binomial distribution. Now, what is this x and what is this x? What is this NPQ? That means. Now, let's take an example and understand. Let's say I have tossed a coin, let's say 8 times. Let's say I have tossed a coin 8 times, right? And I want to find the probability of 6 heads. I want to find probability of getting 6 heads. I have tossed coin 8 times, but I want to find probability of getting 6 heads. Exactly 6 heads, that too. Okay, in that case, I have tossed 8 times. This is the value of, n. N is nothing but here 8. Okay, and how many heads you want? You want 6 heads. That is the value of x. That is the value of x. Okay, and you want head. What is probability of getting head? P is called as probability of getting head or probability of success. Here getting head is a success, right? I want 6 success, right? So probability of getting head is what? See how many heads you have in the coin? 1 head divided by total number of faces 2. Obviously probability of getting head is what? 50%. 50% head, 50% tail, right? 50% is nothing but 1 by 2. And what's the value of Q? Q is nothing but 1 minus P. What is 1 minus P? Okay, probability, let me tell you one more thing. If you add the probability of success plus probability of failure, obviously you should get 1. How? Let's take an example. Let's say there is a 100 marks exam. Let's say you have scored 90 marks. How many marks you left? How many marks you lost? You lost 10 marks. Now what's the probability of your success? 90 by 100 because total. Probability of your failure? 10 by 100. Right. Now how much you get? This is 9 by 10 plus 1 by 10. 9 by 10 plus 1 by 10. You add total. 9 by 10 plus 1 by 10 is what? 10 by 10. That's nothing but what? 1. So this is success. This is failure. Success probability plus failure probability. What do you get? 1. Success plus failure is nothing but 1. If you want failure, 1 minus success. Failure Q is 1 minus success. Success is what? P. You understood? Right. Now that's about what? The formula of binomial distribution and what the elements mean. Here x is called as what? I can call it as random variable. What is meant by random variable? See, all the elements, in this case of binomial distribution, okay, what you should have is we are counting the number of heads here. See, let's say I have tossed a coin 8 times. Okay, how many heads you may get? You may get 0 heads. It means you may not get head. You may get 1 head, 2 heads, 3 heads, till up to 8 heads you may get, because I tossed coin 8 times, right? 0 to 8, they are called as the values of the random variable. What's the random variable here? The number of heads. Number of heads is called as random variable. That's nothing but x. Okay. So, and we are calling it as binomial distribution because of one more case. What's that case? See, binomial distribution is used only in that case where you have only two outputs, either success or failure, either head or tail. The coin will not stand. Okay, we don't consider such cases. Or let's say a cricket match is running on. Who will win? Okay, who will win? Okay, either a team A or team B, whatever. Okay, match drawn cases will not be considered here. Okay, there are only two outputs, either win or lose, or either success or false. I mean success or failure, true or false. Only in such cases we use what? Binomial distribution. If I give you a food, either it is good or it is bad. Only two cases. Little good, little bad, no. No intermediate case. In that cases we use binomial distribution. There are two outputs, right? That's why it is called binomial distribution. One more condition for binomial distribution is the probability of success or failure should remain the same throughout the event. What I mean? See, if I toss a coin now, I want to toss a coin now. What's the probability of getting head now? 1 by 2, 50%. Probability of getting tail, 50%. Now let's say I have tossed coin once now. Again I want to toss a coin. Now what's the probability of getting head? Again 50%, right? Does it change? Obviously no. Right? So probability of success or probability of failure, it should not change. In some cases it may change. Let's consider an example. For example, let's say there are 52 cards. I mean, you know, the playing cards, right? Out of those 52 cards, I mean, they are being well shuffled. I'll just take one card out. Okay. I'll find the probability of getting, let's say, diamond. Let's say I want to find the probability of getting diamond card. Now, if I keep that card out, okay, how many diamonds you will have? You will have 13 diamonds. In the 52 cards, you will have 13 diamonds. Okay, I'll explain those cards concept when solving the problem. We'll solve one particular problem based on cards itself. Okay, let's not see about in depth here. Okay, so we have 13 diamonds. Total we have 52 cards. So probability of getting diamond is 13 by 52. Now 13 ones are 13 fours are 1 by 4. Now whatever the card I have taken, I keep it outside. I keep it outside. Either it's diamond or not. I just keep it outside. Now if I ask you what's the probability of getting diamond? Denominator obviously is not 52. Now it has become 51. Why? Why it has become 51? Because I have kept one card outside now. Now if I ask you probability of getting diamond, will it not change? The value will change. Probability of success, earlier it was 1 by 4. Now it is not 1 by 4 anymore. It will change. Right. Now in such cases we cannot use what? We cannot use binomial distribution because probability of success is changing here. So throughout the experiment, probability of success should remain the same. So you can do it like this. I mean, whatever the card you have kept, if you again mix it with the 51 cards, now it becomes 52. Again, if you calculate probability of getting diamond, again you'll get what? 1 by 4 only. Right. So probability of success or failure should not change when you want to use what? Binomial distribution. Right. Now this, okay, I forgot to explain two more things. Let me explain. I'll just erase this part. I forgot to explain just two more things. Sure event and what? Impossible events. If I ask you, let's take the example of tossing a coin or throwing a die instead of coin. Okay. If I ask you what is, my event is getting number more than 7 or getting number more than 6. if my event E is getting number more than 6, now tell me, in this sample space, do we have any number more than 6? No. So this is an empty space now, or empty set now. Now this event will never happen, you know, right? This event will never happen. If you throw a die, do you get number more than 6? Obviously no. So such event is called as impossible event. Impossible event. Okay. Now let's take the event F as what? Getting number less than 7. Less than 7. Now what's the event F now here? Number less than 7 means all these numbers are less than 7, right? Now calculate here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All numbers are what? Less than 7. It will happen for sure. Obviously, if you throw a die, you will get number less than 7 only, right? That's sure. That is called as sure event, or it's also called as certain event. Now tell me, what's the probability of getting event E? Obviously it is 0, because there are no elements in event E. 0 by 6, 0. What is probability of getting F? 6 elements divided by total 6 elements. 6 by 6, 1. So probability of impossible event is 0. Probability of sure event is what? 1. This is like 100%. 100% it will happen. What is meant by 100%? 100% is nothing but 100% means 100. 100 by 100, 1. Right? So the answer is 1. 100% means what? Sure event. Its probability is what? 1. One more thing. The value of probability always, it lies between 0 to 1. It always lies between what? 0 to 1. The probability cannot be negative. Why? Probability tells you what? The number of elements in event divided by total number of elements in sample space. Right? It tells you about number of elements. Number of elements cannot be what? Negative. So probability cannot be negative. And probability cannot be greater than 1. Why it cannot be greater than 1? Because see here, if you are taking probability of, let's say, event E or any event. Okay, now here you are writing n of E divided by n of S. Tell me, the elements in E are more or elements in S are more? S is a sample space, it contains all the elements. So elements in S are obviously more. So denominator is always more. If denominator is more, the value is less than 1. Right? So they may be equal, like in case of sure event, but it cannot exceed 1. Right? Now this is what these are the basics of the chapter probability. So in the next session we will solve few problems based on the chapter probability. Thank you.